Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of Sam Talks Nerdy. I hope you're happy, doing well, dominating life, crushing it, kicking ass, taking names. The first season of Ahsoka is over. And as I mentioned in my season finale review, I am here to do a full season review. But first, a couple of things. First off, can I just say that I am glad the show is over? Not that I didn't hate the show, I loved it, it was awesome, but just sometimes the Star Wars fandom can be a wee bit tiring. This is coming from a guy who is a hardcore Star Wars fan. It's just whenever a new show comes out, it feels like there's a new controversy every week. It's also got to the point to where whenever I'm watching a new season of like The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm just like, oh, all right, let's see what this piece of controversy is going to be about. I mean, it's the toxic fans that just kind of ruin Star Wars for me, just because it feels like nothing impresses them anymore. Like nothing makes them happy. They don't like anything, and it just makes me wonder, like, are all Star Wars fans like this? I mean, I know there are some good ones like me who enjoy a lot of what Star Wars puts out, but it's just the toxic ones, they give us good fans a really bad name. And two, this is for any of my Canon camera gurus out there. How can I get a sharper image on my video? Because I've tried almost everything under the moon. I've tried manual focus, automatic focus. I've tried different filming recording sizes. I've tried to make sure I'm in focus before I record, and that's why whenever I'm talking and recording, you see my eye kind of wander over to the little view thingy to see if I'm in focus. And while I look in focus, whenever I put like my footage into my editing software, I'm not in focus, or I'm like very blurry and grainy, and just it's really hard to tell on that tiny little screen there if I am in focus. And just yeah, so I would appreciate any tips, advice, or someone tell me I need to invest in a better camera. Which is honestly surprising because this is a Canon Rebel T5. I've had this for a long time, and while I'm looking at some Sonys, I really don't want to upgrade my camera because, this should be good enough. Anyways, back on topic, let's get into the review. You know the deal. Positives, neutrals, negatives. Let's go. Positives. What are my positives? Well, for one, the performances. They were fantastic. Kudos to Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Natasha Liu and Iman Esfandi. They were perfect as Hera, Sabine, and Ezra. Though I won't lie, I was a little on edge with how they would portray the characters, but immediately those worries went away. Just they were fantastic, and I cannot wait to see them in the future of the Star Wars franchise, the Mandoverse. Just I am so excited to get more with these characters because I do like Rebels. And Rosario Dawson, just I bow to her because she killed it as Ahsoka. Yeah, some people calling her acting a little wooden, but honestly, just think about this for a second. Think about all Ahsoka has went throughout her life, with the Clone Wars, getting betrayed by her best friend, leaving the Jedi Order, more fighting against the Empire, learning her master is alive but now part of the dark side. Because I think that can really take a toll on somebody to where it just kind of kills their emotions. However, after episode 5, we do see a little more of the old Ahsoka, personality-wise. I also love David Tennant as Hu Yang. I honestly forgot he was actually in the Clone Wars as Hu Yang until I watched like Star Wars Meg and Star Wars Explained kind of remind me about that. To be honest, I haven't watched like Clone Wars in its entirety in quite a while. I really should. And I forgot that like his eyes were pretty expressive in Clone Wars. So again, that kind of shows how long it's been since I've watched Clone Wars. And then again, starting out when I was watching it, I didn't really watch a lot of the episodes. I watched like the ones I thought looked interesting, which were mainly the battle episodes and the clone trooper focus episodes. So yeah, that's kind of a dark secret of mine. Ray Stevenson was just captivating. Okay, he owned every scene he was in, and it sucked. It sucks he passed away because I do want to see where he goes in the future, but sadly that might not happen for a while unless they use CGI or they recast, which hopefully, I hope they don't recast. Like, honestly, when it comes to just continuing Balin's story, just leave it as it is. Just, I don't want, I do think that if they recast or use, the face swapping, whatever it's called, that might cause some problems. Well, at least problems fandom-wise, that is. And do I even need to mention Lars Mikkelsen? He was perfect. Perfect. I'm sorry, but no one else, not even Benedict Cumberbatch, could have done it as well as him. I mean, come on, he voiced Thrawn in Rebels, so he knows what to do. It's just, he was so, like Ray Stevenson, he was so captivating, and honestly, I couldn't stop staring at his eyes. Just, they were so, they had my attention the entire time, because they were just so piercing. Plus, kudos for Dave Filoni for making Thrawn work in live action, because apparently he even consulted Timothy Zahn, who created Thrawn, Rhyme, to make sure he was doing everything right. So, Dave Filoni, I applaud you, sir. I applaud you. I also need to applaud the pacing. There were no side mission episodes during this show or this season. It was just continuously following the main story. So no, oh hey, we need to go to this planet to find, blah, 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 blah. Oh, by the way, on the way there, we need to stop off at this planet to refuel. Oh no, there's a crime lord we need to stop. And then it's, so on, so on, so forth. Like, Ahsoka just kept it focused on the main story. Now, I guess maybe it could be debated that episodes 5 and 6 could have been side mission episodes, but personally, I don't think so, because they did further the season plot. I mean, yeah, it was, rocky at the beginning, but it quickly found its footing and became pretty good. The Clone Wars and Rebels fan service, I just ate that up. I loved it. I know some people don't like the fan service in all the shows, and to them, I say, shut up. As someone who grew up watching Clone Wars and remember that being canceled, and all the lead up to Rebels and watching Rebels, just, I enjoyed it. I ate this up. Especially the Clone Wars flashbacks, just, oh, that is easily my favorite episode of the season. Just seeing young Ahsoka in live action, Hayden Christensen adds Clone Wars Anakin in live action, even doing his best Matt Lanter impression. Just, I'm sorry, like, that was amazing, and I do hope they do explore that in the Disney Gallery whenever they get to that. For those of you who hate fan service, you have no soul. I also really enjoyed the lightsaber fights. I never realized how much I missed seeing them until this show. My favorites definitely have to go to Ahsoka and Baylan, or Ahsoka and Morgan Elsbeth. Definitely my favorite has to be the one between Ahsoka and Morgan Elsbeth at the finale, because it just felt very epic in scale. And also, while this isn't one of my talking notes, I do feel like I should mention this. Death Troopers. And when I say Death Troopers, I don't mean the black ones, I mean the zombie ones. Those are now canon. To a degree. Like, well, also, they're classified as Night Troopers, but let's be real, they're Death Troopers because they can come back from the dead and walk off anything. I do wonder how the Night Troopers will affect Star Wars going down the line. Like, will they be the main, Imperial force we'll see in Skeleton Crew, future Mando seasons, the Dave Filoni movie that's going to be coming here soon? Who knows? And this is a small positive, but I did like all of the tributes to samurai films and Akira Kurosawa films. Just, that was cool. Now on to my neutrals. Well, for one, it was definitely a little info dumpy at the beginning, because it was just all, hey, if you didn't watch Rebels, here's what happened, so you can be caught up from when we get to all this in the show. Which I will admit did kind of drag down to the beginning a little bit, but once they kind of got past that, the show got better. My next neutral has to be Ivana Sakno. Just, she didn't really do much. She was just kind of there in the background behind Balin's shoulder. Just, she didn't leave much of an impact on me. I mean, she was cool, but she just didn't really do enough in my opinion. She just, as I said, was just more in the background half the time. But it does look like she's going to be doing more in the future, since she is now on her own, out of Balin's shadow, and leading her own little group. So we'll have to see how that goes. And I alluded to this in my season finale review, but the finale as a whole just, well, like I said, I feel very conflicted about it. I mean, I do like that it was very unexpected, not what we were expecting, but I was wanting something a little more neatly tied up. It's literally just, oh, Ezra and Sabine and Ahsoka switch places now to where Sabine and Ahsoka are stuck on the planet while Ezra is now back home. And plus, we didn't really get a solid conclusion on Baylan and Shin. You know, Shin's now going to lead the Raiders, and Baylan's off doing his own thing, looking for something relating to the father, the sister, and the brother who are from the Clone Wars. However, it does sound like we're getting a Season 2, or there is a Season 2 being planned. So I'm not too upset about it because I know eventually all this will get resolved. However, it does look like we're getting a Season 2, and I hope so because, well, as I said, there is a lot that needs to be tied up. And plus, I am not waiting another X amount of years till we get the Mandoverse movie. And actually, who knows, maybe all this could be resolved in Skeleton Crew. And after thinking about it, I think Skeleton Crew is the last Mandoverse show as of now because there's no word on Mando Season 4, Book of Boba Fett Season 2, Ahsoka Season 2, like, there's nothing kind of concrete past Skeleton Crew, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this whole part of the timeline after Skeleton Crew comes out. Now, what are my negatives? And honestly, I don't have any negatives, just anything I didn't really care for or like didn't really ruin the show for me. It's just, well, I didn't really care for that, but I'm not going to, like, hold it against the show. It's just, oh well. Overall, I'd have to give Ahsoka a 9 out of 10. It's probably my favorite Star Wars show next to Andor and Mando. Well, yeah, it does have its shortcomings, it's still a pretty solid show. Anyways, that'll be it for this week's episode of Sam Talks Nerdy. Thank you for watching or listening if you're listening to this via my podcast. If you are, please make sure to leave a 5-star rating and a good review where you can. Also, please make sure to follow me on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, and Spotify. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to do the usual stuff, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, stay happy, stay well, stay healthy. Don't join the dark side. Don't get lost in space. And I will see you or talk to you next time. Peace out.